Sorry. Time marches on here. Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the City of Warrenville City Council regular meeting for August 19th, 2019. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Ashour is excused. Alderman Berry is excused. Alderman Bavir.
Here.
Alderman Davalos.
Here.
Alderman Goodman.
Here.
Alderman Krischel.
Here.
Alderman Widener.
Here.
Alderman Wilson.
Here. Thank you, Emily. Would you please stand as you are able and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the time we set aside for citizens' comments. I don't see anyone signed up this evening, so we'll move into official and staff comments. Beginning with the mayor, I have nothing new to offer this evening, so we'll go right to the clerk.
Thank you. I have two things. First off, I'd like to remind everybody to turn off your cell phones. It creates a feedback buzz in the recorder, which plainly hurts my ears. So I would appreciate that. And then also a reminder to the elected officials that the deadline to register for the America in Bloom Symposium is September the 3rd. And I hope you all consider going to, if not one, or two, or three of the sessions. And the dinner on Saturday night will be the awards ceremony, which is, I mean, we're in the contest. So we'd like to see you there. I also would like to thank the council personally because 2 weeks ago you voted to pay for elected officials' registrations. So that leaves the chance for either a board member or two members of Warrenville and Bloom to go to the symposium because Warrenville and Bloom was going to pay for my registration as a board member. So thank you I can pay that forward and hopefully somebody will take advantage of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Treasurer.
Just a reminder, Wednesday's public school starts. Be careful out there driving around.
Thank you, Larry. Alderman? Alderman Widener?
Yeah, I just read that Route 59 is going to be having I think it's a large culvert replaced north of Mack Road, and that at certain times 59 will be reduced to one lane of traffic, and I would suspect that might cause a lot of backups and cut-through traffic in and around the city of Warrenville. So I just have a concern for safety for our residents, and I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that, and whatever we can do to, slow people up. I would ask the police department take an extra look at that and, keep track of, people trying to make up for lost time as they avoid a construction zone and use those cut-through roads in and around town. So just a concern for everyone's safety, and I just hope that people will stay patient with the other road construction projects that we have going on in town. It'll be better when it's finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Okay, City Administrator?
Thank you. I would just echo the clerk's announcement about please shutting off your phones. We don't want to damage her hearing, but it also interferes with the broadcast of the meeting on Channel 10 and the recording if someone watches the meeting on YouTube anytime after tonight when it's loaded there. You'll have interference with the dialogue, and some parts will just be cut out whenever there's a data transmission. So even if you're not texting during the meeting actively, if you're receiving a text or other data downloads on your phone, on your smartphone, it does interfere, and best thing to do is just shut that off because you want to pay attention to the meeting anyway, and you can look at all those messages later. Thank you.
Thank you, John. City Attorney?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on then to the approval of the agenda for this evening. Alderman Widener?
Yes, I just have one quick question about item A, so I'd like to remove that, and with the removal of item A, I move to approve the agenda for the August 19th, 2019 City Council regular meeting.
Second.
Second by Alderman Wilson. Discussion. Alderman Goodman?
Yeah, I'd like to remove 6D for some questions too.
Motioner agrees.
Seconder agrees.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing no one, all in favor then of the amended agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a couple of sets of minutes that need to be approved this evening also. Alderman Wider?
Move to approve the minutes of the August 5th, 2019 City Council regular meeting, and to approve the minutes of the August 12th, 2019 Public Works and Infrastructure Committee regular meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion of those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The minutes are approved. The consent agenda as amended for this evening, item 6B, accept Plan Commission recommendation, waive second reading and pass ordinance 02019-47, approving the temporary use permit for the Warrenville Park District temporary events in 2020 through 2022. C, accept Public Works and Infrastructure Committee recommendation and pass resolution R2019-39 regarding permits granted by the State of Illinois Department of Transportation for the construction, operation, and maintenance of city-owned street improvements. E, accept Public Works and Infrastructure Committee recommendation and adopt the accident investigations and employee safety training and education policies effective immediately. F, accept Mayor Brummel's recommendation and approve the appointment of Elizabeth Chapman to the Zoning Board of Appeals and the reappointment to the Plan Commission as Ward 1 representative for a term set to expire on November 6th, 2020. G, accept Mayor Brummel's recommendation and approve the appointment of Jessica Tullier as a Ward 2 representative member of the Plan Commission for a term set to expire on August 19th, 2024. H, receive and file draft minutes of the Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals regular meeting held on August 8th, 2019. I, receive and file report of invoices paid up to August 14th, 2019 in the amount of $30,318.17. J, authorize expenditures for invoices due on or before September 3rd, 2019 in the amount of $242,936.68. And K, receive and file report of debit card expenditures for the month of July 2019 in the amount of $9,466.75. Alderman Wider?
I move to approve the agenda as presented by Mayor David Brummel.
Second.
Motion and a second. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Goodman,
Aye.
Alderman Widener,
Aye.
Alderman Kreschel,
Aye.
Alderman Bevere,
Aye.
Alderman Davalos,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Thank you, Emily. We'll return to item 6A. Alderman Wider, did you wish to bring that forward?
Sure. I move to approve, motion to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the second reading, and pass ordinance 02019-46, approving the final plat of subdivision and the final planned unit development for Vanguard Cantera Apartment Project at 28250 Deal Road.
Second.
Second by Alderman Wilson. Discussion. Alderman Wider?
Yes, I was just looking at Exhibit E, which is the landscape plan for the project, and I applaud the diversity of trees that are being planted, both as new trees and replacement trees. But I had one question. There's several references to both replacement trees and existing trees as being plane trees, Plane. And I just wondered if they're a distinct variety, or whether they're an ordinary tree, or whether there's something I missed in the landscape plan that would explain the fact that we're planting plain trees, plain old trees. Just plain old trees.
But as opposed to PLAIN trees, plain trees, we're talking plain trees as in,
Yeah.
I don't know. Who would know?
I could have Googled this, I suppose, but I thought it.
Who would like to inform us? Do identify yourself.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, my name is Paul Langdon with Covington Realty Partners. A plane tree is in fact a species of tree. It's a London plane tree. It's a fairly common, it's hardy into about zone 5. So it will certainly survive this weather. It has a fairly large leaf. You've probably seen it like downtown. They get used in city locations a lot. The one thing they do is they sometimes flake the bark. You see like, it's a fairly smooth bark and you'll see looks like it's scaling off a little bit. It's not messy, but that's a habit that it has. But if you've seen those trees around, that's what it is.
Is it similar to our sycamore tree then? As far
Similar.
as the
It's
bark
similar,
and
yes.
the size of the leaf goes?
Yep,
Oh, okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Great, well, we all learned something then. Was that it?
See, there's no plain trees. There's-
That there is a
They're all,
plane tree?
they're all very different.
Alderman Goodman?
Yeah, I mean, on the subject of the replacement trees, I just want to say that having dead trees on this property has been a problem for a long time. And so the fact that we're taking this opportunity to try and clean that up and to get some living trees and hopefully to, going forward, have better management of the trees so that they last longer and that the new trees that are planted survive longer and look better. I think that's going to hopefully be one great change that's coming out of this project. So that's just my comment.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Alderman Kreschel.
Aye.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Goodman.
Aye.
Alderman Bavir.
Aye.
Motion carries. And we're off. Good, we'll return to item 6D. Alderman Goodman, did you wish to bring that forward?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept Public Works and Infrastructure Committee recommendation and pass Resolution R 2019-40, approving a professional services agreement with Engineering Enterprises Incorporated for the completion of Phase 2 of the infiltration and inflow investigation of the West 3 Basin in an amount of $55,258, and authorizing the city administrator to execute the proposal.
Second.
Motion and a second discussion. Alderman Goodman?
Thanks. When we first discussed this at the city council level, I asked some questions about the smoke testing, and there is a little bit of information in the backup material. But I have to say, it almost made me feel like I had more questions than I did to begin with. It says on the first page that the smoke is not carcinogenic. It also says that it is not going to stain the furniture and drapery, but I feel like that's a pretty low bar in terms of information about what it in fact is. What does it smell like? Will there be asthma triggers? Will people have allergic reactions? Are people going to be sensitive to breathing this in? What are the human effects? There's a list of organic compounds that they say are not in it, but what's in it? It just sort of begs the question. So how can people make an informed decision if we're letting them know there's going to be this smoke in their houses, about whether they need to leave, about whether they might have allergies, about whether they might have respiratory conditions, if we don't know what it is, and this doesn't say at all what it is, how can our residents make an informed decision about any of that? Because I think you said it's pretty clear the smoke will be coming into people's houses, will be coming up out of the grounds, will be coming up out of pipes, that people will see it, people will notice it. So the question is, what are they supposed to do?
Deputy Public Works Director Kukler?
We will have notices out in the areas that we'll post on the doors on people's doors to let them know, to warn them it's coming. And one of the things they're not supposed to do is call the fire department. We're going to make sure the fire district is aware of this. As far as, there's no odor based on this that I can see. It doesn't leave stains on anything, which would be questions I would have if I saw smoke. As far as the materials that are in it, I honestly would have to get more information on that, and we can include that in the notice if people may or may not be allergic to them. I would not expect it to see this in a lot of people's homes. I would expect to see it in people's homes when there are problems with their plumbing, or if they're hooked, potentially have something hooked up to the sewer that shouldn't be, or if their traps might be dry where they're, and that's going to be part of the notice too, is to make sure that the traps for their, maybe seldom used bathtubs or their floor drains and things pour some water down there, make sure there's water in there to help keep that this material from going into the house and going actually up through the stack and above the roof line, like it should. There's a very good possibility they're going to see it coming out of the ground or out of manholes and things like that out in the public right of way or potentially in their yards. But I would hope that not very many of them would have it in their homes.
Okay, but we do know that there must be some of these illegal connections that are pumping some pumps into our, so we know that there are people whose homes are going to have this smoke in it.
Sure.
And it's very different saying, oh, it's going to be in your backyard than seeing, oh, it's going to definitely be in your home where your children are. I mean, you understand my concern. It's not just a question of safety. It's also a question of saying, what instructions can we give people to let them make the best choices that they can? And I don't feel like this information is adequate for that.
No, there's going to be an actual notice. I think what the utility division is looking at is like a pink door hanger that's going to have information about the product on it and like what to do if smoke is coming to their homes. And we as Public Works want to know that. We want people to call us so we can go investigate and help them determine what the cause of that might be. In a lot of cases, it may just be a dry trap. In other cases, it might be an illegal connection we need to do something about. If they do see it in their homes, they should open up their windows to let it dissipate. But it's not a toxic material. I don't know. I can't say that people aren't allergic to something that's in it, but the best thing to do would be to open your windows and let it dissipate if it is in your house. But that'll be part of the instructions that are on the door hanger to let them know what to do and who to call if there is smoke in their house.
Okay, but how can we give them instructions if we don't have information about what the smoke is? It just, you say you don't know either.
No, I don't have, we haven't received the product yet. This is when John Satter reached out to the supplier, this is what they sent back in terms of information about it. And the question that was asked, that I asked John, was would it cause problems? The concern was more safety and if you're breathing it in or if it's toxic or that. It was the question that got asked of them. As we get the actual product from the supplier, we will have more information about what it actually is. And that wasn't the question that John asked them. He didn't ask him what it is. He was asking about the effects of using it and the concerns with people's health with it.
Well, I am concerned about people's health and safety, and I think that's very connected to what it is. I just feel like this answer, it seems to be they use the phrase liquid smoke. It seems to be some trademark name, so, there may be some proprietary information in the compound that they don't want to tell us, but how can we feel from this rather general statement, oh, it's not carcinogenic, oh, these particular listed compounds aren't in it? How can we take that and generalize to, this is going to be safe for everybody, nobody's going to have any problems?
Well, I can't guarantee, there's nothing we do that I can guarantee that nobody's going to have any problems. But I'm also not going to hand this out to the residents to say, here's your information on this. We will give them information about what to do if they see smoke in their house. We'll give them more information about what we can find out about what's in terms of chemicals, and what to do if they do have smoke in their house in terms of either calling us or actually opening their windows and helping it dissipate.
City Administrator Coakley?
What I'm hearing Phil say is, excuse me, they get less information than what you're asking for, Alderman, for tonight's agenda. They were answering what they thought was the question for this meeting. But when they pass out the information door to door for those affected neighborhoods, they'll have something that has the actual, either the details, I imagine, of what's in the smoke in the product, or maybe an and/or, how to get more information if they may have this is what's contained in it, it's this type of product, and it may have something that has more information, call or go online to get, I don't know if there's a whole MSDS type sheet or something that gives every single compound, might be too much to pass out, but it may be something that you could have additional information where to go for the people that it would affect. There's certainly going to be some homes in town, I'll guarantee, probably in every different area they go in, that will have some smoke in the house, either because they have a sump pump, they bought the home and it was illegally hooked up, or their traps were dry, or perhaps there's a crack in one of their pipes they didn't even know about, that may help them find one of their sewer pipes has a crack in it and they weren't sure where it was. So it will get in some homes. It won't get in all the homes, it won't get in most of the homes, because I'm sure that most of the people don't have those kind of issues, but that information should help. I think that will address your concerns. We certainly don't want anybody to have any kind of health issues, or if they have asthma and it's triggered or something else, because of the testing that we're doing. So I think that will help give people an advance warning, and then they can make the decision about what they need to do if they're having some kind of potentially some kind of a reaction. They may want to be out of the house that day when they see the truck come by, or just go out to the store or something for a few hours and not be there during that time. But if we give them the information, you're correct, then they can make their decision and be best prepared.
Alderman Goodman?
How much notice will we give people between when we put the hangers on the doors and when we do the smoke testing, so that they have time to research whatever they might need? Or if they're not home for a few days, this is the summer, a lot of people travel. Well, school is starting, but still a lot of people travel.
I actually hadn't, because it's not something we're going to be doing tomorrow, I hadn't given it a ton of thought. Typically, I'd say given the fact that people might be might be gone for a weekend, or probably a week's notice is fair to get it out there, get something up on the website as well in case people are curious, and on Facebook. But I think a week should be plenty of notice for people, even if you're gone for a couple of days or a weekend. That should give you time to get back and see the notice and research if you want. And also there'd be a phone number again to call Public Works with questions.
Okay, is it going to be done just in stages or all around the whole basin at once? So are we going to be doing these notices in small batches or one big chunk?
I don't think it'll be one big chunk. It'll probably be small, not necessarily really small batches, but it'll be in smaller chunks. It won't be one big chunk. So I think I don't know that we'll get it all done within a week. I don't want to give it too far in advance where they forget about it or lose the notice and that kind of stuff. So it'll be in more manageable sized chunks than just the whole basin.
Okay, well, I want to make sure we give people time to process the information to make their own health choices about this, because, having the city come along and pump smoke into your house isn't something that happens every day. People are not going to be expecting this. They're not going to be prepared. They probably aren't watching this meeting, all of them right now, so they don't know what's going on. So the more outreach we can do to inform them, the better.
Sure.
Thank you.
Alderman Wilson?
Yeah, my question was just, this is from West Basin 3, right? So how much of an area is this? I mean, we have 11 basins, so from a number of homes in each one of these basins, if you have any to follow up, roughly how many residences are involved in this? Do you have any idea?
No, not off the top of my head. I know this is generally in like the Summer Lakes area. I think it might be the South Summer Lakes area, if I remember the map correctly. So it's one of the more densely populated areas. It's not like it's on the east. Well, the east side's pretty dense too, but it's not. These aren't the bigger lot areas where you have few homes. It'll be a more densely populated area where you're going to have more homes that'll be impacted potentially.
So that you'll be able to get these notifications to the individual resident. It's not like you're trying to get it out through entire Warrenville all at the same time.
Correct.
As they work each basin, you can get the information to those residents in that area.
Yes, the
Sure.
utility division staff will walk door to door and hang these notices up. If there's a person there, they'll talk to them too as well. And again, if people have questions, they can call. There'll be a number to call so they can ask questions, or if they have concerns about something specific, then we can.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And I'm assuming the manufacturer of this product would have information as to what's included in the product. It's a product that's made specifically for this purpose. You would think they would be very careful about the ingredients and be willing to share the ingredients to reassure people that these were non-toxic and they weren't going to be a problem.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Oh, Alderman Widener?
Yeah, I would just ask that you explore every opportunity to communicate to those residents. Sometimes I think it's difficult for people to notice door hangers, Facebook, so the more layers of communications that we can put out there regarding this notice, I think the more the community will appreciate it, and the more likely it will be that they will find out that there's a possibility of smoke intruding into their home. So I just ask that you explore, even at a little more expense, I'd rather take an extra step, first-class letters or whatever it might be, to make sure it's in the hands of people who potentially are affected. Thank
Okay.
you.
We'll look at that.
Okay, Alderman Davalos?
Thank you. Yeah, so there is some data. I mean, there's always more to get, but there is a sheet in here that was kind of interesting to read that the first page of it says SDS and test data explanation, and then on the back is scientific evaluation of liquid smoke. Also, there's a phone number there you could call for more information, which sounds like anybody could be given that, and they can probably get help. And in the end, what they basically said, I mean, they listed everything that wasn't there. They looked at CO2, they looked at carbon monoxide, they looked at everything. But they basically said, in this third paragraph, even though this test doesn't identify any harmful quantities of toxic compounds, you will need to warn your customers of dangerous sewer gases that may be traveling with the smoke. They should always be warned to evacuate the premises when smoke is detected. So I think that's sort of a guideline, and I think we can find more information, and people can find out exactly. We can look at other communities, but I agree with what the other aldermen have said. We have to really communicate. But probably the bottom line is, if you see this smoke, you just, like you would any smoke if you saw in your house, you would go outside and then call the information that you would have on your door hanger or wherever. So it is a concern, but I think there is some information here, and you just, I mean, I would say people don't have to discern this, they just leave their homes. And I agree with Phil that probably this isn't going to happen very often, but we certainly need to get all the information out there. But there is a phone number. I'm just sort of putting out there for the aldermen and everybody in your packet. Thank you.
Okay, I guess we're going home. Yeah, turn that cell phone off. All right, if we're done discussing that and staff has direction, may I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Widener,
Aye.
Alderman Kreschel,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Goodman,
Aye.
Alderman Bavir,
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Motion carries. That concludes the consent agenda for this evening. We have nothing under the regular agenda, no unfinished business listed, no new business listed, no need for a closed session.
Correct.
Just one more motion. Alderman Goodman.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second by Alderman Bavir. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you for your attention.